They're off. They come into view. That's Teeny Genie in front. Cream is next. Hot Chocolate. At the top of the straight, that's Teeny Genie. Cream is trying to get there. Hot Chocolate's right there. Sugar Booger, but it's Teeny Genie with about a 16th to go. Teeny Genie, Cream trying to get there, and Hot Chocolate. It's Teeny Genie and Mark Harris at the wire. Cream is next. Hot Chocolate, Sugar Booger, and Ninja Scout. That's Ninja Scout at the wire. And Oreo making his way down the stretch. Good call there, man. Good call. I was looking at the color of the horse and I was having problems getting myself. I should stand right here and not be trying to move around. And that's Oreo. But it's Teeny Genie with about a 16th to go. Teeny Genie, Cream trying to get there, and Hot Chocolate. It's Teeny Genie and Mark Harris at the wire. Cream is next. Hot Chocolate, Sugar Booger, and Ninja Scout.
Farrashaca, let's go!
Get behind me, David.
It's the Farrashaca trophy!
Yeah, she rears every race. She rears at the start and then she just jumps and goes.
And so you were pretty much in the lead the whole way?
Yeah.
They're turning in. They're off. Artistic Charm out early, followed by Bold Initiative and To the Max. Please clear the course. They come into view. Bold Initiative on top. Half mile to go. Bold Initiative all by himself on the front end. Sweet Escape is next. No, that's Artistic Charm. And Prince Caspian. At the top of the straight, that's Bold Initiative. All out on the front end. Next is My Impressive Tie. Artistic Charm, that's Lindsay Caps. Bold Initiative, happy birthday, Lindsay Caps. My Impressive Tie is next, followed by Sweet Escape, Artistic Charm, To the Max, Prince Caspian, Missy, and Eeyore. And Snickers. Snickers now up to beat Eeyore. Missy, Snickers, Eeyore.
Initiative all out on the front end.
is My Impressive Tie. Artistic charm, that's a Lindsay Katz. Bold initiative, happy birthday, Lindsay Katz. My Impressive Tie is next, followed by Sweet Escape. Artistic charm to the max. Rich Caspian, Mickey, and Eeyore. And Snickers. Snickers now up to beat Eeyore. Missy, Snickers, Eeyore. She is our second winner of the day. Susan Ward.
Had a pretty good start.
Yeah, he's a little jumpy at the start, but he had a good start. He did really well.
And he just basically creamed the rest of the field.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I didn't look behind me.
Flag is up. They're off. Very quickly, Ninja Scout out to the early lead. Coco right there with him. Coco now with the lead. Coco, Stormy, Ninja Scout, Chippy Blue Eyes, Chewy, Tony the Pony, and Extra Penny. Hunt Foxhunters. They proudly support the work of the Brandywine Valley Association. They're turning onto the course. They are off. Scuba Steve out to the early lead, and Quaremba. Please clear the course. They make their way to the first. That's Scuba Steve on top and over, and Quaremba. They make that far turn. That's Scuba Steve in front. Quaremba's next. They're over the second. Scuba Steve with about a 20-length lead over Quaremba heading to the third. At the third, that's Scuba Steve on top. Quaremba is next. Quaremba now over the third. Scuba Steve almost to the fourth. Scuba Steve over the fourth with a commanding lead over Quaremba. They now make this turn and head out into the country. That's Scuba Steve on top, Quaremba in second. They're separated by some 60 lengths. Out along the backside, that's Scuba Steve. He's over that next fence. Quaremba's next. They're over those. They make that far turn. Scuba Steve in front, Quaremba next. Quaremba now starting to make up some ground. That's Scuba Steve showing the way. Scuba Steve on top over that one. There's Quaremba's next. Still some 50 lengths lead separate these two horses. Scuba Steve up around that far turn. Corimba is next. Scuba Steve now down along the woods. Approaching this next fence. He's up and over that one safely. Here comes Corimba. He also is well over. That's Scuba Steve in front. Corimba's next. We'll make that gap 50. They're back into view. Scuba Steve and Jacob Roberts in front. Now only about 35. Corimba's starting to make up a little bit of ground. They cross the driveway. That's Scuba Steve, make it 30. Corimba's next. At this next fence, Scuba Steve up and over. Corimba also jumping well there in second. They come to the stone wall. Scuba Steve in front. Corimba is next. They're both over that one. They've got one circuit to go. It looks like Scuba Steve has just pulled up. So we now have Corimba, Jake Chalfin out on course. They've got 5 fences to negotiate. And if they can do that successfully, they will be the winner. We're down to 4 fences for Corimba. Corimba, 3 to go. He's up and over the third to last. He's got 2. Jake Chalfin and Corimba with 2 fences to go. Make that 1. Jake making sure Corimba gets a work out of this. He's got 1 fence to go. He's up and over. Jake, you can style all you want today. There's your winner, Corimba.
Move them up a bit more.
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me. Hey.
Out on the course and we'll get this running.
Good.
We know that Scuba Steve is a very fast front-runner horse, and there was no need to chase him. He's either going to win the race or go down trying, so wanted to take care of a good old hand Corimba, and he jumped clean, jumped strong, still kept a good pace going, and when Scuba Steve pulled up, he didn't lose his focus and kept jumping and did his best.
They're turning, and they're off. It's Inca Magic out to the early lead. I think Gorgeous Charger's right alongside of him, and Voice of Power. They make their way to the first. That's Inca Magic over first. Delarun now moves up. Voice of Power. Bug-Eyed Willie. They turn and head for the second. Inca Magic on top. They're all bunched up on the front end. That's now Delarun in front. Inca Magic's next. Voice of Power. They come into view. Delarun, no, that's Voice of Power now in front. Armed Brat is next, followed by Delarun, Inca Magic, Bug-Eyed Willie, and Gorgeous Charger. Please clear the course. Please clear the course. That's Voice of Power in the lead as they make that turn. Armed Brat is next. They head to this next fence. Voice of Power by about 3 or 4. Armed Brat is next. Followed by Delarun, Inca Magic, Bug-Eyed Willie, and Gorgeous Charger. But it's still Voice of Power showing the way up at that far turn. Voice of Power now by just a couple over Armed Brat. Delarun is next. Inca Magic, Bug-Eyed Willie, and Gorgeous Charger. They continue up the backside in that order. Voice of Power by about 3. Armed Brat, Inca Magic, Delarun, Bug-Eyed Willie, and Gorgeous Charger. They make the far turn. That's Voice of Power on top. Armed Brat right behind him. They make the turn and head down along the woods. Brian Carell and Voice of Power showing the way. Armed Brat about 2 lengths back. Inca Magic and Delarun heads apart, 1 length back to Bug-Eyed Willie and Gorgeous Charger. They're all over that fence. They come through the gap. That's Voice of Power on top. Next is Armed Brat. Bug-Eyed Willie's now moved up into 3rd, followed by Inca Magic, Delarun, and Gorgeous Charger. They come into view. Voice of Power showing the way. Make it 2 back to Armed Brat, another 1.5 to Bug-Eyed Willie. We've got 2 to Delarun, about 3 to Gorgeous Charger, and Inca Magic is your trailer as they cross the driveway. Voice of Power on top. Armed Brat is next. Bug-Eyed Willie there in 3rd. Delarun, Gorgeous Charger, they all jump that one together and they head up towards the stone wall. Voice of Power showing the way. Armed Brat is next. Bug-Eyed Willie on the outside, Gorgeous Charger in between horses, Delarun on the inside, and Inca Magic. They've got 5 fences to go. Voice of Power shows the way. They're getting to this next fence. Voice of Power by about 3, Armed Brat. Looks like Gorgeous Charger, then Bug-Eyed Willie. They've got 4 to go. Voice of Power still in the lead, but it's not much by much. Armbrat has moved up along his inside, and Armbrat has taken a lead going to the third to last fence. Armbrat and Voice of Power, they've got 3 to go. They come into view with 2 to go. That's Voice of Power and Armbrat heads apart. Armbrat got there first, but Voice of Power still running. Bug-Eyed Willie's in third, followed by Gorgeous Charger. They come to the last. Armbrat, Voice of Power, Bug-Eyed Willie trying to get there, as is Gorgeous Charger. Armbrat gets there first. Voice of Power's right alongside of him. Bug-Eyed Willie and Gorgeous Charger. Down to the wire. It's going to be Armbrat. And Gorgeous Charger, and the other 2 were too close to call. It was Bug-Eye.
We'll send him a picture.
Yes? Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Against a bunch of really solid horses with experience today, held his own. I asked him a long way from home. He gave it to me, and he held on to it up the stretch where it got close, but he didn't let go. And
one more circle. They're turning, and they're off. The other me. No, that's Rainbows for Luck out first, then followed by the other me. Over the first, that's Rainbows for Luck, and the other me is second. They are tightly bunched. They move on to the second. They're all over that one. Looks like Fort Henry on top. They come to the third. Fort Henry first there, Western Fling. Up on the upper side, that's Rainbows for Luck, Flying Contraption. They come to turn out into the country. Fort Henry first, Western Fling, Rainbows for Luck, Flying Contraption, the other me, Twill Do, and Incomplete. That's still Fort Henry in front, about 2 back to Western Fling. Followed by Rainbows for Luck. That far turn, Flying Contraption, and Twill Do and Incomplete complete the field. Up along the backside. That's Fort Henry. His lead is now about 5 lengths over Western Fling, followed by Flying Contraption. They turn and head down along the woods. Fort Henry shows the way. The other me now moves up into second, followed by Twill Do, Western Fling, Incomplete, and Flying Contraption. They're all over that fence. Fort Henry shows the way. Twill Do and Other Me are heads apart in second and third. They come back into view. Fort Henry now takes over the lead again from the Other Me. It's about 3 back to Twill Do, followed by Western Fling, Incomplete, Rainbows for Luck, and Flying Contraption. They cross the driveway. Fort Henry still shows the way. The Other Me, Twill Do. Western Fling, Incomplete, moves up on the inside. Rainbows for Luck and Flying Contraption as they get to the stone wall. That's Fort Henry over first. They've got 5 to go. They come to the 5th list. That's Fort Henry. Incomplete now moves up. The Other Me, Twill Do, Western Fling, and Flying Contraption. They're starting to spread out now. They move to the 4th, the last. That's Fort Henry. Incomplete now moving up on his inside. Incomplete now takes the lead. Fort Henry's right there. They've got 2 fences to go. Incomplete. Fort Henry, the Other Me, Rainbows for Luck. Fort Henry was a follower at that fence, leaving Incomplete all alone on the front end. Western Fling is next. Rainbows for Luck. It's Incomplete as they come to the last. Charlie Fenwick and Incomplete have 1 to go. Twill Do's trying to get there. Western Fling. It's Incomplete down to the wire. Rainbows for Luck trying to get there. The Other Me and Twill Do. It's Incomplete. Rainbows for Luck. Twill Do. The Other Me and Western Fling.
Twill Do's trying to get there. Western Fling. It's Incomplete down to the wire. Rainbows for Luck trying to get there. The Other Me and Twill Do. It's Incomplete. Rainbows for Luck. Twill Do. The Other Me and Western Fling.
Went well, just workman-like performance, and I got just enough of a work out of him. And
It was very close. It looked like you were bunched up almost all the way around.
yeah.
But he didn't have any trouble with the traffic or anything?
No, I did well.
Good.
So,
Congratulations.
thanks.
They're walking in. They are off. Crossing again jumps out to the early lead, followed closely by Sirens Echo and Thermostat. That's Crossing Again, Thermostat, and Sirens Echo. They're all over the first. About 6 lengths front to bat. And it's Crossing Again on top. They move on to the second fence. Crossing again, showing the way. Thermostat next, and Sirens Echo. They're over that one. Crossing again on the outside. Thermostat down on the inside. And Sirens Echo. They move to this next fence. That's Thermostat now in front. His lead about 2 lengths over crossing again, and then another 2 back to Sirens Echo. They make the turn out into the country. That's Thermostat in front, about a length lead over crossing again, and another one back to Sirens Echo. It's still Thermostat showing the way. Crossing again, and Sirens Echo. They're all over that fence well. 4 lengths front to back. Thermostat on top. Crossing again, and Sirens Echo. They make the far turn up there. That's Thermostat by about a length. Crossing again is next, and Sirens Echo. Up the backside. That's Thermostat. Crossing again, and Sirens Echo. They're over that one well. Thermostat in front. Sirens Echo and crossing again heads apart. Now crossing again moves back to second. They make that turn and head down along the woods. Crossing again is now in front, only by a head over Thermostat, and it's a couple back to Sirens Echo. They get to this next. They're all over that one. Crossing again shows the way, but he's only got about a half length on Thermostat. They head down the hill. Thermostat now in front again by about a length over crossing again, and it's another one back to Sirens Echo. Stop that car from leaving. Stop the car. And they head down to the driveway. That's Thermostat in front, about 2 over crossing again, and another 2 back to Sirens Echo. They cross the driveway. Thermostat in front. Make it 3. Back to crossing again, and another 2 to Sirens Echo. Those 3 fly that fence. They head up the hill to the stone wall. Thermostat crossing again, and Sirens Echo. They're all over the stone wall. They've got 5 to go. Thermostat crossing again, and Sirens Echo. They move to the 5th to last. Thermostat first over his lead, about 5 over crossing again, and it's 2 back to Sirens Echo. We've got 4 fences left. Thermostat on top. Crossing again, and sirens echo. They move to the 4th to last. That's still Thermostat in front. Crossing again, trying to get there, followed by sirens echo. They move down to the 3rd to last. Thermostat on top. Crossing again, only about 2 back now, and sirens echo another 3. At the 3rd to last, that's Thermostat. Crossing again, and sirens echo. They're all over. They got 2 to go. They head to the 2nd to last. That's Thermostat in front. Crossing again, and sirens echo are moving up with them. We've only got a length separating these 3 horses. Crossing again, now moves to the front, down on the low side. Thermostat in the middle, and sirens echo on the upper side. 3 horses across the track, 1 fence to go. Crossing again, Thermostat and sirens echo. Thermostat back out in front, crossing again, and sirens echo. It's Thermostat. Crossing again, and sirens echo.
Horses across the track, 1 fence to go. Crossing again, Thermostat and sirens echo. Thermostat back now in front, crossing again, and sirens echo. It's Thermostat. Crossing again, and sirens echo. And written today by Ivan Dowling.
What was your strategy going in?
Well, it was the horse's first time over timber. Ricky, the trainer, said he was fox hunting and well able for it. He's run over hurdles quite a few times, so he's used to the pace. But we really didn't know till we got out there. And my strategy was to not screw him up, basically. Yeah, so I didn't ask for any big spots and just kept the horse together, and he had the pace at the end.
And so how'd the trip go?
Yeah, they let me dictate the pace a little bit on the tricky places. I slowed it up, and the 2 other jockeys were nice enough to let me do that. And then when the hammer dropped, it was every man for himself. So.